Welcome to the Strong, Single and Human podcast, a real look at single parenting, the ups and downs, and how to navigate life with kids on your own while keeping sane. Covering subjects such as domestic violence through to fussy eaters and solo dating. I'm your host, Claire Martin. Welcome. Growing up with a single mum who cleaned houses and buildings for some of the most wealthiest and elite people in Seattle, WA, this week's guest was instilled with a strong work ethic to pursue big dreams and help others. One night, his life was rocked by a nightmare when his uncle murdered his aunt and cousin in a domestic violence dispute. The close-knit family was devastated, and he vowed to do something in their honor when he became an adult. In 2007, he opened the I Am Defense Institute, which shows women and children how to protect themselves from attackers. He is the creator of Camp Warrior King, which helps thousands of youths in the metro Atlanta area gain exposure to amazingly fun activities. He is also the founder of You Can Have It All youth conferences. These are conferences to motivate kids to believe they can have it all. And off the back of the conferences, they have recently launched You Can Have It All Youth Motivational Development Magazine, which is the only motivational magazine for kids of its kind in the world. And if this all wasn't enough, my guest is a developer creator of the team Hot Sauce. These are cartoon characters who teach children how to believe in themselves using fundamental personal development principles. He is also the author of 3 books: Persevere, Overcome, Win, Raising Extraordinary Kids, and Be Unstoppable Living Life. Forever giving back, in addition to all of his work, a portion of all of the proceedings from his businesses maintains the You Can Have It All orphanage in Bombo, Uganda, where they currently support over 30 children with shelter, food, and school supplies. Wow. Well, I don't know about you listening to all of that, but I'm just knackered reading all of his achievements and looking at all of the stuff that he has been involved in. He's definitely unstoppable, and you definitely can have it all. Welcome, Sean. Thanks for joining us today and fitting us into your busy schedule. Crikey. Tell us a bit about yourself and how you actually, got to where you are and why you're doing all of this.
Awesome. Well, Claire, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show. This is awesome. And I got started with developing youth. Actually, I didn't even want to do it. It was nothing that I really, I had no passion to work with youth initially, but we saw the need. I saw the need for it, and just had to start doing it.
Who wants to work with those stinky children-y, youthy, teenager-y things? I know what you mean. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. So look, so you were brought up by a single parent yourself. So how was that? Because I always talk to single parents, but I never really talk to the kids as such. And you're an adult, so you're not like a kid. But how was being brought up by a single mum and her working all the hours that she did to bring you guys up?
It was great, and there were challenges. And so and it's interesting because a lot of times the perception is that growing up with a single parent that everything is challenging and that it's bad. And that's not necessarily the case with my mom. I mean, we grew up, initially we were in, government housing. We're actually in the church that we went to had apartments, and, they would, subsidize housing. We live in those apartments. And initially, before crack came in the 80s, things were fine. You can go outside, you can play, you can do all that stuff. And then things started getting bad, of course. And my mom was like, we're not going to be able to stay here. We got to go, because there were, drug addicts on the street. There was gang violence. It just started getting bad. And so, we left. She started a business, And that was, probably one of the more challenging times, just her getting started, because she was a woman with a janitorial service and she was cleaning houses. And we lived in the inner city where there was violence and there was drugs and there was gang violence. And so like people used to steal her van. And the one way that she stopped people from stealing her van, there was a neighborhood dope dealer. And he said, I tell you what, you let me drive your van around for about a week and I guarantee you nobody will steal that van again. And so she said, all right, because they kept stealing her stuff, her vacuums and all the supplies. What are you going to do? So she let him drive around for a week. And after that week, she could have left the windows rolled down and the keys in the car. Nobody would have touched that van. So that's how, that's what happened. And so that's how we were able to.
Well, at the end of the day, you do what you got to do to make sure your stuff doesn't get nicked.
Exactly. That's exactly what you do. And that's what she did. Yeah. And that's what she did. And so for example, we would go to like a food bank line to get food because, we may not have enough money to get food, but we always had something to eat. Right. And so we might go and get, back when I was growing up, they would laugh at you for going to, in America, we call like the Goodwill or to get hand-me-down clothes. Now, all that stuff is at a premium. People go there to get all the cool, eclectic clothes. But growing up, nobody wanted to go there. But we would go there and then we would come home. You might have 2 or 3 pairs of jeans, right? Because people were giving us stuff to be able to make it. And so that was we had those challenges, but it always worked out. It always worked out for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And mum always made sure that you were all okay and everything was fine. And she put food on the table and she just went for it basically. And it's you and how many others were in your house? How many other kids there was you and whom else? Have you got brothers and sisters?
Yeah. So I grew up with my sister, April, and I So it was my mom, my sister, April, and me. And then we had other brothers and sisters from our dads, but they didn't live with us. It was just the 3 of us for most of the time.
Wow. Okay. And then obviously the devastation hit your family where your uncle murdered your aunt and your cousin, which must have just been unbelievable to deal with. And how old were you then?
My auntie Jeannie died. I was 17 actually, so I was a little bit older.
Wow.
But it happened 2 days after my sister got married, and so she had come down to the wedding. My Aunt Jeannie had come down to Atlanta for the wedding. We're in Atlanta, living in Atlanta at that time, and he was just jealous. He thought she was going to see some other guy, and she told him look, I'm coming to your niece's wedding, our niece's wedding. And she came to the wedding, and it was a Sunday. The wedding was on a Saturday. She left that Sunday night, and she got back that Sunday night to Seattle, and he killed her and my cousin. My cousin at the time was in the 3rd grade. And so, and it was just really tough because I remember when he was born, when we were living in Seattle, I remember being in a it's called Group Health Hospital at the time. And I remember when that kid was born. And so it was really tough. It really rocked our family.
Oh God. Yeah. And so that was that. So, and was that the catalyst where you said, right, okay, I want to do something to make a difference to this, I want to make this not happen again. What was that the catalyst, or were there other things as well?
There were other things as well, but that was something that was a monumental thing in our family. And I said, okay, I want to do something about this one day. And so I said that and kind of tucked it away and never really thought about what that was going to be until, I started doing the self-defense program for women and children. And it was something to be able to do in their honor, to be able to help women, protect themselves from, either domestic violence situations or from any aggressive attacker on the street. And of course, be able to help children be able to protect themselves as well. And so, started doing that in their honor. Yeah.
Which I think is awesome. I've got a 6-year-old who basically, I would love for him to do something that means that he can defend himself, whether it's at school with bullying or whatever, or in the streets or what, it's something that I've done martial arts, and I've done various boxing and various different other things. I mean, you can't see me, but like, I mean, you can see me, Sean, because obviously you can see me on the camera, but like people listening can't see me, but you'd look at me and go, what the flip? But yeah, I have punched hell out of a punching bag. I have a punching bag in my garage as we speak. It is fantastic for that time of the month when you're feeling a little bit stressed and you need to smack hell out of stuff. It's awesome. PMT Cura. It's a PMT Cura. It's brilliant. But like, yeah. So, okay. So 2007 was when you set up this institute. Mm-hmm. Like, why in 2007? What happened to you for you to go, okay, I'm doing it this year. And how old were you by this time?
So I started the I Am Defense Institute in 2007. And it started out initially, a training partner and I were working out at the gym because I started martial arts when I was about your son's age, 6 years old. And I always stayed with it. And so a training buddy of mine said, you know, man, we should start, you know, figure out a way to make extra money, right? So I was trying to figure out how to make extra money. And he said, man, we should teach martial arts to kids at schools, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that might be pretty cool. We make, you know, a couple extra dollars doing that. And so we said, all right, let's go for it. So we started doing that. And at the same time, it was about the time that the market started taking a crash here in the U.S. And I was in real estate at the time. And it came to a point where it was like, you couldn't sell a house. I couldn't, because I was on the finance side. Couldn't get somebody financed for a loan at that time. And so, well, of course, if you can't sell any deals and you can't make any money, and if you can't make any money, then you're going to be out on the street. So it's like, all right, you got to figure out what you're going to do. Right. And so that's what happened. Okay. And so I got real serious about teaching these kids because it's like, okay, I got to be able to keep the lights on and be able to keep things going for myself. And I was about 27 at the time. And so, you know, got into it and just started rolling with it.
And loved it. Yeah. Okay, cool. And it's still going now, is it?
Yes, it's still going now.
You're still, fantastic. Yep. Wow.
Still rolling now.
So I'm trying to figure out what that is. What is that, 14 years later or whatever? 14?
Yeah, about that.
24 years later or whatever. Yeah. I don't know.
About that. Yeah.
My maths is shit when it comes to like years and dates. No, that's great. Okay. And then, oh my gosh. And then you created Camp Warrior King. Was that off the back of I Am Defense, or was that something else that grew out of something else?
No, that was off the back of I Am Defense. So we were teaching during the school year. So I ended up starting a business on my own and the martial arts program. And it was during the school year. And so during the summertime, there weren't any activities. And so parents started saying, hey, look, we want something for our kids to do during the summer. Do you offer, you know, summer classes and things like that? And so I was like, you know, all right, sure, you know, be able to make extra money for myself. And so I started with a spring camp. It was a spring break, and I did a camp for a week, and the parents really liked it. And they said, okay, do you have anything for the summer? I said, okay, we'll do something for the summer for about a week. And the parents said, no. We need something for about 10 weeks over the summer because our kids are out the whole summer. I was like, okay, you know, we'll go for it. Like 10 weeks is a long time to be with your kids, but, you know, we'll do it. And so we did. And that's where Camp Warrior King came from. And initially it was a martial arts thing where they would, you know, do martial arts during the day and then, you know, do activities later. And then the martial arts became just one part of the program, and we kind of branched out, and now we do spelunking and hiking and tree climbing and archery and shooting and fishing and canoeing, and we go out of town on trips, and we do all kind of, you know, really, really, really cool things with the kids to keep them busy.
Well, that's good. And for any sane parent out there, this is awesome. We need some Camp Warrior Kings over here. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, let's get rid of the kids for the school holidays and get them Camp Warrior. You're creating your own Ninja Warrior, like your Ninja Warrior, like little team, basically. Right. Well, that's awesome. And that's done in the Atlanta area as such.
That's right. It's done in the Atlanta area. Yeah. That's right.
Okay, cool. Oh, awesome. And then if that wasn't enough, so you've got school, you're teaching defense in the school, in the school term, and then you're doing Ninja Warrior. I'm going to call it Ninja Warrior because I think it's like hilarious. Like I'm loving it. All I can picture, I have it in my mind is like massive outdoor areas with kids learning martial arts and like ninja warriors and having ninja warrior courses where they're like training to get crazy and tough, and then coming back in the evenings like knackered and like,
That's
a bit like Police Academy, a bit like the Police Academy movies, where it's like a bit like the Police Academy movies. And now I'm showing my age, but like anyone under the age of 40 probably won't bloody understand what I'm talking about. But anyway, like awesome. But so if that wasn't enough, you've got your school holidays busy, you got your blooming school terms busy, and then you then create these You Can Have It All youth conferences.
That's right.
Like,
That's right.
Oh my God. And I love this concept of You Can Have It All, because like a mate of mine when I was 24 bought me a Tony Robbins book that was in Unlimited Power or whatever it was. Tony, don't kill me for this. Don't shoot me. But yeah, I think it was Unlimited Power, and he bought it when I was 24, which is a long time ago. But I read it and I was blown away by it and a lot of the methodologies in it. And I suppose I've always been of the view, you can have it all. You're the only one who's holding you back. So I try and say, like my son goes, I can't do that. And I'm like, no, it's not about you can't do that. It's about you got to think about the way you're doing it. You won't be able to achieve. You got to think about another way that you can do it, because you can have it all, buddy. You've just got to like think of a different way of doing it. Okay, you don't have the $1,000 that you want to go and buy the PlayStation 5 or whatever. So how are you going to get the PlayStation 5? Another, you hassle mummy and hassle daddy probably until they just give it to you. But there's always a way, right? So tell me about You Can Have It All, these youth conferences, because when I read You Can Have It All youth conferences, that's what I'm thinking. But is that what the youth conferences are about?
That is what the youth conferences are about.
Fantastic. So
the youth conferences
that's exactly what it says on the tin then. So to talk to me, what made you create these? How did you get to, because I mean, like the first two I've mentioned, right? The Camp Warrior King and the I Am Defense would be enough, right? And also I'd be thinking at this point, I think I'm giving enough back to the youth. I need to have some me time and not be around kids anymore. And you went, nah, do you know what? Let's do some more youth conferences and get more kids around me and like do all. So what happened then? How did you get to that point?
Well, the You Can Have It All came from, I got sick of the door being slammed in my face. So I wanted to go and speak at conferences was the initial goal. And I spent a couple years calling places all over the country. Hey, I want to come and speak at one of your conferences. And it's, well, who do you know? Do you know this guy? No. Okay. Well, no. Hey, we're not looking for anybody. And I just kept getting denied over and over and over again. And I didn't get any opportunities to speak. I would go to churches, try to speak at their conferences at the churches. And I said, well, maybe they don't think I'm any good. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I feel like I am. I feel like I got something to say. I feel like, I have something to be able to help people and be able to help youth, right? I work with kids, been doing it for all these years. And I got sick of being denied. And so I said, you know what? Fine. If nobody will let me on their stage, I'll build my own stage. And I'll put myself on it, and I'll invite people I know that I think are good. And I'll have them come on the stages and motivate youth and talk about developing youth and having kids go after their dreams. And so that's exactly where You Can Have It All came from. It came from just that constant being denied and saying, you know what, I'm not going to allow that to stop me from what it is that I want to do. I'm going to figure out a different way. And at first I didn't know. I mean, I was incredibly frustrated because I just didn't understand why I couldn't get on somebody's stage, not even to get a shot. And so, matter of fact, one of the first shots I ever got was from a family in Seattle. Now, I'm living in Atlanta at the time, and somebody called me from Seattle, 3,000 miles away, and said, hey, look, I want you to come speak at this event and come do this, right? And so, but prior to that, there was nothing.
Wow.
And so You Can Have It All came from that.
It's almost like, well, number one, you're just living proof that you can have it all. You've just got to do it a different way. And that's what you exactly did. And it's almost like you've got to have a bestseller or whatever to actually get on the talking circuit, which is, is losing a lot of information and knowledge that you've built up from working with kids and trying to motivate kids. So yeah, no, that's fair enough. Okay, so what happens at one of these conferences then?
So at the conference, it is an adrenaline rush. I mean, it is pure excitement. The kids are listening to music. They're bouncing off the walls. Candy's going everywhere. There's smoke machines. There's big, huge beach balls going all over the place. And the kids the lights are going off, and there's, glow in the dark sticks, and all this stuff is going crazy. And we'll do all that. And then they'll listen to a speaker for a few minutes that'll talk to them about some aspect of building their dream or going after their dream or their career or something. And then we'll go back to partying, and we'll have music, and we'll be dancing, and we'll do all kind of fun stuff. And then they'll go back and they'll hear about somebody else, or we'll have a breakout session, and they'll build a dream board or a vision board, and they'll talk about, what it is that they want to do. We'll have a game that they can play, and then we'll go back to doing music and doing all that stuff and listen to a speaker. And it's that for several hours, so that the kids, by the time they come out of that event, they are charged. I mean, they're like, ravaged animals, like, let me at whatever it is I want to do in life. And that's how we want them. We want them fired up and ready to go. We do a lot of chants. We do a lot of giveaways. We give away, sneakers and prizes and things that the kids like, video games and stuff, to keep them motivated. We have an honor roll walk where, any kid that has gotten good grades in school can do this walk. And good grades for us is, because every kid is different, right? There are some kids that, A's and B's are good grades, but then you have other kids that they struggle to get all those C's because you don't know what learning disability they have or just, hey, math may be hard for them. And so we celebrate those kids too, because we don't want kids to think that, well, because you didn't get an A or a B, that you're no good, when getting that C for that particular kid might mean the world. You don't know what their whole family went through just to get that grade. So we celebrate the kids. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like if I ran a marathon, just actually achieving and getting to the end of it is a massive achievement for me.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I'm not going to, do you know what? I'm not going to win any medals, okay? But it's a big achievement, and right. And so it's about, it's, well, there's no way. This is not a racing snake. This is a donkey, all right? This is no way. But, yeah. No, but that's okay. No, which is great, because you're motivated. That's what you need to do. It's small steps to motivate them and go, well done, buddy. You've got from E's to C's or whatever. I mean, that's a big jump, dude. That's right.
It is.
And it's, it's small steps. So, okay, that sounds awesome. But so is it over a day? So are the conferences over a day, a weekend? How do you run these sort of things?
So the conferences that we do in the States are either a day or they're over the weekend. So we'll do most times it's one day. We'll get the kids, they'll come to an event. We'll do it on a Saturday, or if it's during the summer, a day during the week, they'll come for a few hours during the day. And then we have other events that we'll do a Saturday or a Sunday, whether it's, if it's a church event or an organization, we'll do for 2 days, and we'll do activities. And then if we do an international event, then, it'll be a couple of days. I did an event in Uganda a couple of years back, right before COVID.
Wow.
And that was several days, where we did, field day. The kids played soccer, and we sack races and had all kind of games, and, there were performances and things like that. And we fed some of the kids, and, and we did a parade through one of the cities, which was really cool. And, so we'll do things like that if the opportunity permits.
Yeah. And do you, so what age range are the kids normally that attend these conferences?
Typically 5 to 17. So about,
wow. Okay. Okay.
You're talking about And so, I mean, they get in there and they party. We don't have as many 17-year-olds as you wouldn't think you would anyway, but typically 5 to 17 is the age group. A lot of times the 17-year-olds are coming because, they had to bring their younger brother or younger sister, and then they end up, seeing somebody, some person performing or something that catches their attention, and then they end up really enjoying it.
Okay, cool. And are you doing these all over? Are you just doing these in Atlanta area, or are you doing these all over America?
We do them all over. We do them all over. I mean, right before COVID
So
hit.
when are you coming to Australia then?
Hey, as soon as COVID is over, I'm there.
Dude.
I'm coming.
Come on.
I'm
Come on
now.
down.
I'm for real. Now,
join us.
Let's do it.
Join us in Melbourne. There's Sydney as well. They need quite a bit more help than like us Melburnians, but but yeah, we've got a few like major places. We'll get some stuff sorted, get some sponsors in. I think it's great. Like I honestly, I think it's brilliant. I do not know. Admittedly, I haven't researched to see if there is anyone already doing those sort of youth conferences over here. But I think, come over. Yeah. Come and join us. Our youth needs motivating and stick a dynamite up the jacksie, as it were. It's all good. But okay, so you've got the conferences, but like I was going to say, like you've had COVID, man. Like we've had COVID, you've had COVID. We've been the most locked down blooming city in the world. I have to say, like 200 and I'm not sure if we've hit the like golden mark of 270 days in lockdown. Wow. But like, don't even go there. But it's okay. We're all safe and cuddled in our little houses. We don't want to go and leave our houses. It's all good. It's much. Mind you, summer's coming and we have been released. So like, it's blue skies where I am at the moment and it's freezing because I'm in Melbourne. But yeah, blue skies outside and it's looking nice and warm. But what did you do? Like COVID hit you and like your thing is to go and motivate people, right? It's to get them at a conference, motivate them, lance, smoke machines, dancing, fireworks, and all that stuff. But like, what did you do? How did you deal with this?
Well, it was tough initially. When COVID first hit, for me, everything kind of hit a brick wall, really, because with the martial arts programs, and we were gearing up for camp, and it was really tough. And at first, we were going to actually do camp the first year of 2020 when COVID hit. Wow. We were going to go ahead and do it, and we had put out a lot of money to get everything situated. And the first day of camp, we had kids there. We didn't have anywhere near the numbers we normally would have. A lot of the kids that were there their parents were emergency workers, nurses, doctors, firefighters, police officers. And so they had to have somewhere for their kids to go. And so we, went to get started and it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right to open up camp. The concern, because the thing at camp for me, the number one priority is the safety of the kids. And when, it hit my heart and said, okay, if you can prevent just one child from getting this, right, is it worth it? And in my mind, I'm like, man, God, I got all these bills. I got responsibilities, right? So, I need to open up this camp. But it was, okay, if you could save a life, right, or if something happened to a kid, right, I knew I would never be able to forgive myself, right, because it would just be such a selfish thing knowing that these kids are at risk. And so we shut down camp and we didn't open up. I told them on that Monday evening, hey, look, camp will be closed on Friday. And, and we're sorry, we'll reimburse you, whatever registration or whatever. We closed down camp. And fortunately, I did not spend the money that I had earned out, buying fancy cars and doing all that kind of dumb stuff. So, so I was able to, weather the storm. But it was very rough. I mean, just like it was for everybody else around the world. Well, for a lot of us, some people really it was the best time in the world for them. But for a lot of us, it was really challenging. And, we really had to work to make it. And so we got through it. And then, then the next season, we were able to open up camp and actually have more kids this past season than we ever had. So,
because the reason I'm asking that is, and I'm just wondering if it's born out of COVID, or whether it actually developed before COVID. So sorry, it's my assumption. You can have it all youth conferences. You actually have producing or launched a you can have it all development magazine, or a magazine for the conferences, basically, or off the back of the conferences. So I wondered, was that due to the fact that you couldn't have the conferences and therefore you went, well, I can't have the conferences, but we could produce a magazine that actually has motivational things within it? Was that the reason the magazine happened, or was there another reason?
Well, the magazine was something that I've been contemplating and working on prior to COVID happening.
Okay.
And so it was an idea, and I've been researching and working on it. What COVID did is accelerated it because, it was like, okay, it's like when you're, okay, what do I got? What can I work with? What can I do to get things going? And so, we had this concept, this idea, this magazine I've been researching for a while, and said, okay, now it's the time to, to launch that and to get it out there. And so,
wow.
COVID accelerated all that stuff.
And so the magazine, is that available online, or is it like in paper format? How do people get that magazine if they wanted to see it?
So the magazine is available online. It's a digital magazine. Okay. People can get it anywhere in the world. We are in the process of translating it in 5 different languages. And then also there's physical copies. And of course, the physical copies, right now, is pretty much for the US. Shipping international costs is pretty high. But it is a digital magazine that a kid can literally download that link and look at the magazine on their phone. They can, hit a button and respond and say, if there's a question of what's your favorite food, they can respond to that and see their, their answers in the magazine potentially. And so everything is right there on their phone. Yeah. Or on a computer.
Okay. That sounds awesome. And so what do you have in the magazine as such? What's the content? So
it's everything that kids want to. Yeah. Well, it's everything kids want to do. It's all about things that kids want to do. So it's not just motivation, right? So it's definitely motivational pieces. The whole idea of the magazine is for them to be motivated, but they can read about different kids that are doing cool things in sports. They can read about technology. Like in one issue, we talk about robots and how robots are helping people, and they're seeing robots all over, and they can learn about cool and interesting things going on around the world. There's recipes in there they can try at home. There's kids like sneakers, so these are the cool sneakers that are out right now. You can check these out. There's stuff on martial arts. There's things about the orphanage. There's stuff in there for parents. Different strategies and tips for parents. There's things in there on gardening, kids that love to garden. Hey, this is how you can plant a garden. This is how you can build a garden at your house. And it's pretty much anything that kids want to learn about and do that they're interested in is in that magazine.
Oh my God, I am exhausted, man. You are unbelievable. Dude, you've got martial arts, Camp Warrior King. You're doing these youth conferences, and now this magazine sounds like packed full of information, and it's just insane and crazy. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, when do you get time to do all of this? But I'm just doing a podcast and bringing my kid up, which is cool. But oh my gosh, do you sleep?
Yeah, I sleep.
Because I'm what, for an hour? You just have a bit of a nap, and then I'm like, oh my God. And then off the back of all of this, you then also have written 3 books. And I'm just God, I don't know what your mum was feeding you when you were when she was just shoveling in, I don't know, single mum concrete, I think. Because in Australia, we have a saying here in Australia, and we go, she'll be all right. Just have a cup of concrete and harden up, right? And you are just oh my God. Well, look, it's not in this day and age, it's probably not politically correct, because we want people to hug and get their emotions out into the fore. But there's definitely a well-known. When I came here from the UK, I was like, oh my God, really? Is that what you say? Have a cup of concrete and harden up?
And harden up.
God love him. Yeah, and harden up. And and so I can imagine your mother sitting there going, come on, have a cup of concrete and harden up and get this blooming work done, and come on. And you've just gone, okay, well, I can have it all, so I'm just going to work on all of this. So 3 books, dude, 3 books, Persevere, Overcome and Win, Raising Extraordinary Kids, which I might need to hassle you to send me. And and Be Unstoppable, Living Life.
That's right.
Where did the books come from? Were they off the back of everything else you were doing? How did you, number one, how did you find time? Where did they come from? I could throw all these questions at you. So where did you get the books from?
Well, the books came from there was a need for it. I've been working at the camps, and I've been seeing what's going on at the camp, seeing what parents are dealing with at camp, working in the martial arts program at the school, seeing what's going on, with parents at those schools. And there was I saw the need for people being able to get some help developing their kids. And like I said, I believe in the books are designed to give your kid the edge in life is what it's all about, not to teach you how to be a parent. I believe that a parent knows their child better than any adult or other professional, right? They know what their child needs, but it's just giving you tips and ideas and things to try with your kid, and you see what works, what doesn't work, and you use what works and you keep going. And so it came out of that need again, just seeing that people needed some help with, hey, if you knew that, leading by example with your kid was one of the best ways to get them to do what you want them to do, then if you tried it, and that might be something that works, right? Or just being a little bit more patient, or just some kids need work ethic, right? They don't have any work ethic, right? And stop giving your kid every single thing that they want in the world, because what's going to happen is they're going to be 30 years old still living with you, as opposed to getting out there on their own.
And us as a parent don't want that. No way. Right, not 30 and still living with you.
You gotta get out.
Well, I love my son to bits. So, don't call child services on me. Right. But I don't want him living with me when he's 30. Oh my God, that would drive me insane.
Yeah, it would.
But yeah. No, okay. So it was so off the back of all of these other things that you're doing. So, okay. So the books then, where can people get them?
They can go where
are they?
Right onto the website. So ychiamag.com. They can go right onto the website and they can get the books right off of there is the best way to do it.
And and they can go to that website for the magazine as well. So
that's right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool.
For the magazine, they can go all there, and the books are digital.
Oh, okay. So which is great because you can download them to your iPad and flick through and read them on your iPad whatever. And let's face it, most of the time we're in bed with our phones and our iPads, like surfing and it's just oh my God. We used to have books in my day, not a blooming computer that stores like 100 books. But anyway, no, cool. And so I laughed and said, come over to Australia, but I honestly, genuinely do mean that. I think this would be great. You and I will probably have to talk other sideline and get this happening. But so are you starting back the conferences and stuff like that, the youth conferences?
So we'll start back more than likely in the spring and summertime. We'll start back. We got the okay to be able to open up camps and stuff like that this past summer, but by the spring we'll be opening back up conferences and getting it going.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cool. No, that's
definitely
awesome.
Got to come out to Melbourne and do a conference. It would be awesome.
You definitely have.
I'm coming. Yeah.
We've got a lot of youth that need motivating, believe you me.
Let's do it.
But yeah, I completely agree. No, it would be great. And also, I don't want to I don't want to not mention this, right? Is that an oxymoron? I don't know what I just said. But you also, a portion of everything that you make from all of this that you're doing, right, also goes to maintaining an orphanage in, I hope I'm going to pronounce this right because I am horrendous at pronouncing things. Yeah. Bombo, is it?
That's right. Bombo
in Uganda.
That's right.
So, which supports 30 kids, basically. 30
That's
kids,
right.
gives them food, shelter, schooling, etc. like that.
That's right.
Wow. I'm so knackered doing this interview because you're just doing so much. How did you get involved with this?
So the orphanage I went to Uganda to do a youth conference there. And so when we got there, we did the conference, and the gentleman that I met to do the conference had an orphanage that he was, struggling to keep going. And so, I said, when we got there, okay, well, hey, let's go check it out and let's go meet the kids and let's go see what's going on. And so when we got finished with the conference, we had a couple extra days to be able to, go around the country and see things. And so we went out to Bombo and saw the place and saw the kids there, and the kids are great. I mean, the kids, it's something to see children. Children can be happy pretty much in any situation. They can have a smile on their face, but to see the conditions of what the kids are living in, and to realize that just, so many of us have so much in comparison to others, whether we think we have a lot or not. Right. So, you might have 2 pairs of shoes in your closet, right? Or 1 pair of shoes in your closet. And you might think, man, I don't have anything. I only got 1 pair of shoes. Well, you only think that till you meet the kid or the person that doesn't have any shoes at all. Right. Or the kids that were on the street. I'd never seen so much child homelessness before in my life, or kids just on the street. I mean, kids like 9, 10 years old, literally nowhere to live, nowhere to sleep. And so, we saw the orphanage and we said, hey, look, we would like to be able to, support and take this over and be able to continue to provide and take care of the needs of these kids. Because, we started asking, hey, what do you want to do? And they said, oh, I want to be a nurse. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be an engineer. And, to hear that, it was like, you have to do something to help, right? If these kids if that desire is in their heart, and you could do something to just help them go to school, or help them to, the young girls to not be taken advantage of by the men. Right. And, or the boys not to be, drug into, some militia or to, you got to figure out how to survive. Right. So you do things to survive, and they can actually become those doctors and lawyers and engineers and have that life. Then what will that do for the next generation? Right. That ripple effect. Yeah. What will it do for the future? And so that's how it happened. That's how it happened.
Wow.
That's how it happened.
Because, and I agree with you. Like, both you and I are in Western countries, and like you said, I mean, we should be grateful for the fact that nobody, when we leave our house, nobody is setting off bombs, shooting directly at us or our kids or whatever. Our kids can go to school, and safely. We aren't worried that there's a war going on, or that where are we going to find? Well, some people at the moment are, because of the COVID situation, they've lost jobs, but like, we have the ways and means to find food. To get shelter. And like you said, this is an orphanage. So these kids don't have any parents.
They don't have, Claire, they don't have any parents. You're talking about kids that don't have any parents. There's no running water. There's dirt floors. Wow. There were no windows and no doors until recently. We got those put on. There's no stove. They were cooking by fire, like literally outside.
Open fire.
Make an open fire, right? And these are kids. So of course there's no bathrooms, there's no beds, there's no, right, all these things, all of the things that, like you said, we take for granted that we have, right? As a matter of fact, the gentleman that's in place that goes and makes sure the kids are taken care of, he was once an orphan. And, he talks about eating out of the trash can as a kid, and he couldn't read and learning how to read. And the 3 gentlemen that helped me around the country when I was there, 3 of them, so it's Pastor Matthew and then 3 other guys, all came from this same orphanage. And so they had a personal attachment to it. One of them was, his aunt cut his Achilles heel, put him in a bag, and went to bury him alive. And what saved his life is somebody saw her burying him because he was just too much of a burden, and they stopped her from burying him. And that kid is now the one that helps take care of the kids at the orphanage. And so it's that same ripple effect, right? That he was spared and now he's helping others. And that's what's going on with some of these kids around the world. It's all over the world, right? It's happening all over the world. So we can do our part, whatever that is, to be able to help, the next generation, then, hopefully. And I think what you're doing is, commendable. I've got links with a charity in India, basically, that make cotton garments and things like that, and basically take the children and the women away from
away from scavenging on the dumps, basically, for,
Right.
bottle lids and things that they can then go and get money for, so that they can go and get food, or begging in the street or whatever. And this charity, does those sort of things. And it is, like we don't know we've been born, man. We don't know,
Right.
like we don't know hardship in our countries. I mean,
Right.
there are, people are suffering, but
Right.
it's quite funny, because they always say, like, always think about somebody, so there's always somebody worse off.
Right.
And I sort of think in those situations with the orphanage and stuff like that, I go, well, you can't get much worse off than these guys. I mean, geez.
Right.
But
Right.
God love them. And so thank you, and I have to say thank you for helping these 30 kids out. And I mean, I know it's only 30 kids, but it's 30 kids that you're helping out, which is just awesome. It's fantastic what you're doing there. It's great. So look, blimey, I'm knackered, man. I'm knackered. Like, so one of the questions I've got for you is, who are your influences? Because like I said, I'm knackered, like, looking at everything you're dealing with and going through. But like, what influences you? What's influenced you to just keep doing what you're doing?
It started with my mom, really. My mom, watching her as a single mother refused to be stopped, right? To just be, she was so determined that she was going to become somebody, and that she was going to make sure that my sister and I were going to become someone. Watching that determination and watch her, just that fire, never die, was something that inspired me to keep going. And so my fire comes from that. From watching my mom just be a straight fighter. I mean, just a beast, if you will, of a woman that, she didn't allow her circumstance of being a single mother to overtake her. Right. And there were times that she wanted to give up, and it was very hard. And there's all these things, right? I mean, you're heartbroken, right? Because, my sister and her dad, they didn't work out. And then my dad and my mom, they didn't work out. And so, but you still have these children that you got to take care of. And, out of all due respect to our dads, they were gone, they weren't really, I could call him my dad. He wouldn't have let us be homeless, of course, but to even think that would have to be a situation, Woody or what was the situation you want to be in there? But it was my mom's fire. And that's what keeps us going now. Like, my mom is actively involved in everything that I do. So my mom writes in the magazine. She is the cook. She's the cook at camp. She's the one that feeds all the kids at camp. She created the curriculum, the educational curriculum for the kids at camp, because when we left Seattle and came to Atlanta, she became a teacher. And so she created the curriculum.
Okay.
She helps me with, pretty much everything that I do. I talk to her on a regular basis. She's bouncing ideas, and she's still a dreamer. And so, and so it keeps me going. It keeps me going.
Yeah. And God love her, because, like, I know when I separated from my ex, people were like, oh, well, that's your son's life over with them, because you're a single mum. And like kids who come from single parents are like, it's twice as hard for them. And, they end up alcoholics or in drugs, or, it's terrible. And like, God love your mum, because she's a perfect example of, bringing her kids up, right? And you're doing all of the things to help everyone else. I don't know what your sister does, but I'm sure she's fantastic. And I'm sure she's like, you. And and so it's just, hats off to your mum for, like, doing that and influencing you to do so much good in the world, really. That's great. It's awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, mom did it. Yeah. And to that point, it's what they say about those statistics, it's all bull, man. It's bull. I mean, there's a saying that says, when the dream is big enough, the facts don't count. And that's the truth. When you are determined, especially as single moms, that you're going to make something happen for yourself and for your family, there is no greater determination than that of a single mother. The grit that single moms have, dads, Maybe a single dad can come close, but the single moms, man, I mean, if we could take that determination and bottle it and put it in people around the world, you see greater things happen, because it's something about when your back's against the wall and you know that, okay, and you're fighting for something other than yourself, right? These kids can't eat unless you provide the food. Something happens. And to any single mom out here, you can do it. Your kid is not going to be a statistic. Your kid can become anything that they wish to become. And, you know, it's kind of sad that people will throw these stats around, because I was supposed to be a statistic, right? I mean, I'm supposed to be either dead or in jail based on what they were saying.
Well, exactly.
But, you know what I mean?
I know.
And,
I know.
My sister is supposed to be, pregnant as a teen, right? Yeah. And so, none of that stuff happened. And so it's important that we don't listen to these things, these statistics that people say are bound to happen, because it's just not always the case.
To my mind, it's instilling the right values and behaviors in your kids, the right mental attitude, setting the right boundaries for them, so that you can, shove them down the right path, as it were, and not let them go down the wrong path. And doing that now while they're sort of at young age and at school and stuff like that. Because let's face it, when they leave school, we ain't got much control. When you just got to cross everything and make sure that you've taught them well while you can influence them, so that they make the right choices and decisions when they go off into the world, and they start to then find out where they need to go and what their journey is themselves, because they're on their own journey. They're their own person. So I completely agree. I do have, I'm not sure, I have one last question. And I'm not sure. I'm going to be interested to find out your answer, because, I think you're superhuman already. But if you had a superpower, if you could go, I want this superpower, what superpower would it be? What superpower would it be, buddy?
Man, I would want to fly, as crazy as that
You want to fly?
I would. I mean, like I said, I probably sound like I'm 7 years old.
No.
I just jump up and fly, because, and the reason why I would want to fly is because I like to travel. And so if I could fly, like I could just jump up and go wherever I wanted to go.
You could come over to Australia within 5 minutes, not within there you go. 25 minutes, 25 hours.
25 hours.
Yeah. You could just get up. Okay, and I have another question. I did say it was the last question, but it isn't. I have another question, because this I find fascinating, right? Because when you said fly, I was like, okay, but cape or no cape? I don't think superheroes should have a cape, right? I don't think superheroes should. No cape. My view is no cape too, because a cape can just get trapped, or the evil person can catch that cape and
catch the cape.
Or you can get your cape could get caught up in something that the evil person has invented, and that's you. You're a goner, man, because your cape's caught up and you can't do your stuff.
No cape, man.
Yeah, no cape. I'm agreed. No cape.
That's old school player.
Yeah,
cape.
I think Superman. I think Superman's cape was like a failure on his outfit thing. Yeah. Spider-Man's got it down sus, because he doesn't have a cape. So there's no catching him. Yeah.
No cape.
Okay.
No
cape,
dude.
That's awesome. I'm glad we're on the same page, dude.
We're there.
Yeah, we definitely are. Yeah, that's great. So look, hey, Sean, thank you so much for fitting some time into your busy schedule and coming on the podcast with us.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to speak to you. I'm hoping you'll come back and speak to us again. I'm hoping you'll come over and visit Australia, and let's get this You Can Have It All conference set up for Australian kids as well. That would be awesome.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do this. And so look, thanks. It's evening for you you're in Atlanta now, aren't you? Not Seattle. You're in Atlanta now. So it's evening for you. So look, have a great evening. And thanks.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast and would like to hear more, please hit subscribe wherever you like to hear podcasts. If you'd like to support us further, share this episode with your friends and family on all the usual social media platforms that you're normally on. And finally, drop us a review on iTunes, as I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, and ideas. It all helps me to understand and produce awesome content that I know you're going to want to hear, like this. If you want to check out past episodes, write to us, appear on the podcast, or for links, resources, and show notes, go to our website, www.strongsingleandhuman.com. We are also on all the usual social media platforms, Insta, Facey, and Twitter. Have a wonderful week, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Be kind to yourself, and remember, no one's perfect, and we're all just putting one foot in front of the other and doing our best. I'm Claire Martin, and you've been listening to the Strong, Single, and Human podcast.